Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is John Campea, and this is a companion video. What are companion videos? Well, I'm awfully glad that you asked. See, every day on the John Campea Show, Monday through Friday, we take time for some live questions, but we don't always have time to get around to all the live questions that get sent in. But I want to make sure if those questions get sent in, they get answered properly in a video. So I gather up those unused questions and we address them here in companion videos. Now, on today's companion video, and today is Wednesday, August the 14th, not only are we getting caught up on the questions from the John Campea Show earlier today on Wednesday, but also I've been on vacation and we had a few leftover questions from last week that I didn't have time to get around to before I left for my vacation. So we're going to get caught up on those as well. So let's not waste any more time and let's dive right into it. We're going to get started getting caught up today with some of the ones from last week. And this one comes from John DeBenedict, who writes, yes, John, I was talking about Michael Mann's Heat. I remember that from last week because you were asking about Heat and there were a couple of movies named Heat. And I was like, I'm going to assume you're talking about the Michael Mann one. So John, thank you for clarifying that you were talking about the Michael Mann one. All right. Double Crit writes, that breakdancing girl isn't Liana Mormont. Yeah, so last week we talked about the girl that played Lady Mormont. And there was this incredible video of her online breakdancing, which is just crazy. Turns out, though, I found this out later, that that wasn't actually her. It's just this other little girl who looks ridiculously like her. Like an uncanny match. She looks just like her. But it wasn't her, found that out, and it's too bad I found that out because I thought it was one of the coolest things I'd heard in a long time. All right, Joe Byram writes, I got a pee so bad I can taste it. That's Bob and Doug McKenzie. Bob and Doug McKenzie, A Strange Brew, I believe that's the name of the movie that came from. Ben Rayner writes, I like how you cut out the topics on YouTube. Is there a way you could cut out the live chat questions too? Not every question, just the live section part. Okay, so what Ben's talking about here is that we take each individual topic that we talk about on the John Campea Show and we put them up as individual segments on YouTube as well so people can find them, just like little 5, 6, 7-minute segments of individual topics. I don't really see the point in segmenting out the live chat because you can just watch the show. I mean, the live chat is normally like an hour to an hour and a half long. So I don't really see the point in segmenting that out. Like you're just as well, it makes up half or more than half of the John Campea shows. So you can just go to the John Campea Show and start playing right there. So, I mean, we could segment that out, but I really don't see the point of it. You know what I'm saying? I don't see the point of doing that because it is such a long segment. I generally like to do the little segments when they're like 5 to 10 minutes long at most. So I don't really see the point in doing a long one. So no, I don't think we're ever going to segment out the live question part because it's such a big chunk of the main show already. There's no real need to do that, in my opinion, at any rate, Ben. All right, thanks for asking. Patrick Conway writes, I would prefer Esposito to be Charles instead of Eric. And of course, we were talking about last week about how, you know, one of the X-Men writers was saying that they'd like to see Giancarlo Esposito playing the new Magneto. And we had a really good discussion about that, and I think he'd be great. There are a lot of actors I think would be great, but I think he's one of them. And so you say you'd rather see him as Charles. Hey, he's a great actor, so I could see him in any role. To me, all that matters is the actor talented? Go for it. So I'm fine with him as Eric or Charles, to be honest with you. Jefferson Williams writes, Bryan Cranston as Charles Xavier? Well, no. The reason I would say no is because then it feels gimmicky, right? If you get Giancarlo Esposito to play Magneto, then you can get any other great actor to play Charles, but I don't know if I would go with Bryan Cranston because then it feels like a gimmick. Then it feels like, oh, getting the Breaking Bad guys back together again, and I think that gimmick would take away from it, to be honest with you. Now, don't get me wrong, if Esposito wasn't going to play Magneto, then I'd be all for Bryan Cranston playing Charles Xavier. But I'd rather, again, not getting both of them because then to me it diminishes it and it feels like a gimmick. So that's just my opinion, Jefferson. Henson Roberts says, Esposito's Eric, Cranston's Professor Xavier. Hashtag any good actor, yes. But then there are extenuating circumstances. In this case, I fear it would come across gimmicky instead of for the sake of the movie itself. But that's just my opinion. Aaron Stanwood writes, watched Basketball, which is a pretty funny movie, and Snatch, which is an all-time great movie. Snatch is in my top 20 all-time favorite. Made for a strange but good double feature. What's a great comedy double feature? Oh, any good comedy. Honestly, in my opinion, any two good comedies is a good double feature. You know, you can't always say that about dramas or period pieces or whatever, but any two good comedies that make you laugh make for a good double feature. If you can laugh for 4 hours straight, that's a good time. So any two good comedies for me would make a good double feature. I mean, usually when I talk about good double features, I think about other movies that would pair well, but comedy is comedy, you know? Laughing is laughing to me. So I don't really have a lot of good, I mean, so any two good comedies is good for me. All right. Planet Mars 2030 writes, "Hey, John, does this mean they will recast Kingpin / Wilson Fisk in The Punisher and etc.? Yes. Yeah, they will. You're not going to see, you're not going to see the Netflix Daredevil in the MCU. You're not going to see the Netflix Punisher, as good as he was, as good as John Bernthal is, as good as Charlie Cox is. You're not going to see them in the MCU. And unfortunately, that also means you're going to see a different Kingpin. So yeah, that does. I mean, look, anything is possible, but at this point, your safest is to assume that, yeah, all these Netflix characters, they're done, they're gone now. And when we do see characters like Daredevil or Punisher, they're going to be brand new incarnations with brand new actors playing the roles. So it's just something we should probably get ourselves braced for and prepared for. Suthius writes, "Hey, Mr. C. Wow, Danny Trejo I read about this. Danny Trejo just rescued a baby from a car crash in Los Angeles. Just popped up in the news today. Right place, right time, good stuff." It is always pretty good when you hear about an actor that you were like, and who doesn't like Danny Trejo? By the way, I think he was only in 2 or 3 episodes, but his recurring character on The Flash, I loved. I loved his character on The Flash. Anyway, whenever you can hear about a performer you like doing something cool in real life, whether it's Keanu Reeves doing cool stuff or Chris Hemsworth doing cool stuff, it's always cool. And reading that story, and if you don't know what it is Suthius is talking about, just go on Google, look up Danny Trejo rescue car crash, and there's stories all over the place about it. It's always good to hear stories about that, and I got a kick out of that because I love Danny Trejo. Suthius writes, "I'm now on Zevia as well. Stevia helps with high blood pressure." Yes, I've read that, which is yet another good benefit. Now, normally when you guys see me drinking out of like a blue or green cup, I used to drink a lot of soda, and now instead of like regular soda or diet soda, because artificial sweeteners are kind of crappy for you, I got turned on to this brand called Zevia, which has no artificial sweeteners, no artificial sugar, and no real sugar, still 0 calorie. And I've actually grown really fond of it, and I like it a lot. And the active ingredient in stevia is supposed to have some health benefits as well. So, hey, I'm happy with it, and I like it. I'm glad you enjoy it too, Suthius. Jake Iyer writes, "Favorite Kubrick film minus 2001. I mean, 2001 is hard to go against. Somebody asked me this exact same question the other day, probably a couple of weeks ago, asked me the exact same question. And 2001's hard to go against, but I also like Eyes Wide Shut more than most people do. Now, when people think of Eyes Wide Shut, they just think of it as the dirty movie. And yes, it is filthy. It's a dirty movie, but it's actually a really good movie. And I actually quite enjoy it. Well, again, like everybody else, I'll lean to 2001, but I honestly think Eyes Wide Shut gets underappreciated. I really think Eyes Wide Shut gets underappreciated. Austin Wayne Scott writes, "Disney has the opportunity to use the Fox brand to release Oscar contenders and Touchstone-esque films, but I guess they don't care enough to do so." I don't know. Look, I honestly think that's probably what they had in mind, Austin. I think that's what they had in mind. The problem is the movies that Fox is putting out are not delivering. And that's the problem that they're having. They don't look at Fox as just a distribution arm. They look at Fox as, like Marvel, like Lucasfilm, their own production entity. That's what they look at them with, a production entity that also happens to have a distribution arm, which is also great, but they look at them to produce movies as well. And unfortunately right now, all the stuff that we're seeing going on is that they're really putting out underperforming and quite frankly, under quality movies. Stuber was a bad film. I mean, I'm sure there are people who liked it and that's great, but I was excited about it, but I thought it was a pretty damn bad film. Then they're putting out these other films that they're just not touching a nerve with anybody. They're not getting anybody interested in their movies. And that's a difficult thing, because exactly what you're saying, Austin, once again, is something that I thought was probably part of their plan too. But they don't just look to Fox as a way to release films that they're producing. They're looking at Fox to produce those films and release them, to operate independently like Lucasfilm does, like independently with an asterisk beside it. Alan Horn and Bob Iger obviously keep an oversight on everything, but they let Lucasfilm do Lucasfilm. They let Marvel do Marvel. They let Pixar do Pixar. They give them oversight, but they kind of expect them to do their own thing. And they were looking to Fox to do that as well, and things just aren't working out the way they'd planned or the way they had hoped. So we'll see what happens in the near future with that, Austin. All right, Marcos Funes writes, "Hey, John, what are your thoughts on the upcoming A24 film Uncut Gems, starring Adam Sandler, directed by I never know how to pronounce Safdie. I just say Safdie. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing the name, Safdie brothers. I don't know much about it, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't think there's been a trailer for it yet. All I know is that the Safdie brothers directed Good Times with Robert Pattinson, and that movie's great. They did a great job on that. So, take that in consideration. So all of my expectations at this point are based on who's directing it. That's it. I really don't know much else about the film other than that. I remember there being some talk that maybe Adam Sandler was going to be in it. I don't know if he still is or not. I remember about a year or so ago, there were some talks that Adam Sandler would be in it. I don't know if he still is or not, or if Adam Sandler is in it. Sorry about that. So Adam Sandler's still in it. But until I see a trailer, I don't know much about it, other than the fact that the directors did a really good job with the last film of theirs that I saw. So on that basis, I'm at least a little bit curious. Dominic Martinez writes, Disney could always put the New Mutants on Hulu with the whole Fox X-Men movie catalog. It could be a probably meant selling point for new subs to Hulu as well. Yeah, I mean, look, the odds are that Disney is still going to release New Mutants in theaters. There's just, even if it flops, it's going to make back a good chunk of the money that was spent on making it. So there's that. But yeah, an option to them is to take New Mutants and release it directly to Hulu Plus. Now, it's not something that would go on to Disney Plus. Obviously, because they're saying it could be like an R-rated thing. That's not the type of stuff they're looking to put on Disney Plus. But it is something they could put on Hulu. And you launch, say, the X-Men catalog, although I don't know what the existing rights and the current licenses and the current contracts entail. But in theory, you launch a New Mutants on Hulu with a number of other X-Men titles on Hulu. That's a nice little subscriber campaign. That would be a nice little subscriber tool. Because the fact of the matter is, no matter how much bad news there is and how much negative buzz there is about New Mutants, the fact of the matter is it's an X-Men movie. It's an X-Men, adjacent movie. And no matter what, people are going to be interested. Look, with all the crappy stuff we're hearing about New Mutants, fact of the matter is, if it was being released in theaters tomorrow, I'd be there opening day. And I know a lot of people would be there opening day, even though I'm hearing negative things. So there could be an appeal to take that and, instead of releasing it theatrically, make a play for it as a subscriber acquisition play on Hulu, and maybe there's a win there. I don't know. Again, I still think the odds are they put it in theater, because even if it crashes with makes $30 million total, not $300 million, $30 million. Well, hey, that's $30 more million than they would have had, right? It's $30 more million than they would have had. So I still think that's the way it's going to go. But other than that, Hulu is an available strategy. It is an available strategy. Let's see if they go for it. All right. Kevin King writes, what I did first with Avengers Endgame. Fast forward to the Cap versus Thanos Avengers Assemble scene. Second, deleted scenes. Third, features. And last, commentary. I bought it just a couple of days before I left for my vacation. I still haven't had a chance to sit down and actually watch Avengers Endgame since I bought it on streaming. But that most likely, the only difference, Kevin, is that I think for me, the first thing I'm going to do is director's commentary. Because that's the thing I'm most excited about. So probably for me will be director's commentary. Then Cap versus Thanos scene, then deleted scenes, then features. That's so very, very similar to yours. I would just take the thing you had last and make that the very first thing I do. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. All right. Yuri Manian writes, have you played Star Wars, the role-playing game Force and Destiny? No, I haven't. It's funny because a friend of mine, Kyle Newman, was talking to me about it. And we talked at one point about, maybe getting a game together. That was just a quick little conversation. I do, however, I've got a new Star Wars West End Games Star Wars role-playing game campaign coming up. And I'm very excited about it. And I'm actually going to game master this one. And I think we're going to record a bunch of it and put it up on the YouTube channel. Now, I'm going to warn you guys right now. When we do that, don't expect one of these professionally recorded, game sessions. We're just going to play a role-playing game, and I'm going to set up a camera or two to very badly record it. But if you guys are interested, I'll take a bunch of that and put it up online for you guys to see. But I'm very, very excited about it. I'm so stoked for it. Is my book there? Yeah, that right there. This blue blur that you see, this is the Star Wars role-playing game core book for the West End Games D6 system. It's still my all-time favorite role-playing game system, is the West End Games Star Wars D6 system. Best system I've ever played. And honestly, it's not even because it's Star Wars. The West End Games D6 system is the most intuitive, natural, fast pace. It really facilitates quick rate of play. It keeps the focus on the action of the game rather than trying to figure out the different rules. It's very intuitive. It's just awesome, and I cannot wait to play the next game with it. Film Fan Rant writes, today is my son Max's birthday. He's 19. Just wanted to give him a shout out on the John Campea Show. Plus, I know it's sacrilegious. I didn't like the boys at all that much. Well, first of all, happy birthday to your son Max. 19. I remember turning 19. 19 is a great age. Enjoy 19, Max. So happy birthday to you, buddy. And the second thing is, it's not sacrilegious. Look, I remember watching The Boys. And as much as I loved it, and I do love it, but as much as I loved it, I instantly could tell this show is not going to be for everybody. It's certainly not for anybody. So by no means is it sacrilegious to not like The Boys. Not everything's going to work for you. So if you watch The Boys and it didn't work for you, didn't work for you. Nothing to worry about, Film Fan Rant. And again, happy birthday to your son, Max. To turn 19 again. That's great. All right. Orange Hand writes, ever read the comic Bone, Calvin and Hobbes meets Lord of the Rings? I'll tell you what, I've read a little bit of Bone. But the biggest Bone fan I've ever known, there was a buddy of mine named Darren Connolly. For those of you who've watched me for a very long time, like going all the way back to the movie blog days, Darren used to do the movie blog audio edition podcast with me. It was me, Darren, Bruxy, Doug. And Darren was one of the guys. I've known Darren, since I was 16 or 17 years old. I've known Darren. Anyway, Darren loved the Bone comic. It's just funny because when you mention Bone, the first guy I think about was this friend of mine, Darren Connolly. Loved Bone. Always tried to get everybody else to read Bone. But I remember he absolutely loved that. So I read a little bit of it. I just remember the character was a very simply drawn, roundish character. I remember the character. If you showed me a picture, I'd say, oh yeah, that's Bone. But I can't really remember anything about it. All I remember is that my buddy Darren used to read it a lot and loved it. And he would talk about it all the time. All right. Keaton, it's funny. I haven't heard anybody mention Bone, Orange, since Darren. I really haven't heard anybody mention that since Darren. Keaton Carr 89 writes, thoughts on Stallone's gangster farce Oscar? Love it. Dude, if you've watched me for any period of time, I bring that movie up every once in a while. I am one of the few people in the world who adores Oscar. Snaps Provolone. I love that movie. A much younger, at the time, Marissa Tomei was in there. It's got a terrific cast. It's very quick. It's very witty. I enjoy Oscar a great deal. I talk about it. I bring it up all the time. And if you guys have not seen the Sylvester Stallone comedy Oscar, I really recommend it. You got to be in the right mood for it, but I find it delightfully entertaining. I really, really like that movie. Mike McHale writes, My wife and I are having a baby soon. Oh, congratulations, dude. We both have A-list. Debating if we should cancel one or both of them to save money for the baby. Thoughts? Well, I mean, it really all depends on circumstances. The reality is, if you and your wife are still planning to, maintain a date night when you have kids, then it will save you money, right? I mean, and the fact of the matter is, depending on where you live, it's only about $20 a month. And if you and your wife still want to go to one or two movies a month, then it would actually be more financially wise to keep the membership. So you're actually saving money. But if you're not planning on going to the movies anymore, which I think you should maintain a life for yourself too outside of the house. But if you're not planning on going to the movies anymore, then honestly, if you're not going to go to more than one movie a month, then it doesn't make much sense to have A-list. But if you think there's a chance that you could go to the movies like twice a month, then I would say keep it, because you're going to save money that way. But again, it all depends on what your plan is. But it's about $20 a month. I would say keep it. That would be my recommendation, but it all depends on the lifestyle you guys are kind of planning to have once the new family member arrives. And again, congratulations to you guys. That's awesome. All right. Edwin Perez Mendez writes, "Hey friends, favorite Mel Brooks movie?" Oh, I mean, look, obviously things like Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, things like that. But for me, it's going to be Spaceballs. Obviously, it's going to be Spaceballs. It's hilarious, great, but Blazing Saddles, close second, Blazing Saddles. All right, Suthius writes, "Stone Cold is on tomorrow's episode of Hot Ones." I really do like Stone Cold. I think he's a great personality. Suthius also writes, a Crab L versus the Fish Monster movie needs to happen. The Fish Monster. Again, everybody forgets. Ariel is not white. Ariel is also not black, nor is she Asian, nor is she Latina, nor is she Filipina, nor is she Italian, she is a fish monster. All right? She's not a part of the human race. She is not of the human species. She is a fish monster. Everybody forgets that. She's not white, she's not black, she's a fish monster. Just like the creature from The Shape of Water, Guillermo del Toro's Best Picture winning, Academy Award winning film, just as that was not a human dude, that was a fish monster, Ariel is a fish monster. She's got boobs, but a fish monster nonetheless. We got to keep that in mind. Slim Trav writes, "What looks better, Last Christmas or Playing with Fire?" Oh, yeah, they both look awful. I'd hate to say it, but I actually think Last Christmas looks better. I mean, look, they both look like garbage. And maybe they'll both be great. They might both be great. We're talking about how do they look? Because I obviously haven't seen either of them. And maybe the movies will be wonderful. But how do they look? Well, they look terrible. But we've seen other movies that look terrible that end up being good. And we've seen movies that look great turn out to be terrible. But if you're going to ask me which one looks better, well, they both look like garbage. But I would say Last Christmas looks a little bit less offensive than Playing with Fire does. But who knows? Maybe they'll both be great. Let's see. Renal Alir writes, "Finished building whole Lego set during the show." Hey, listen, if we could be there while you're putting together a full Lego set, that's awesome. But you forgot to let us know what it was you were building. Next time, let us know what it is you're actually building. I'd be curious to know. All right. Justin Kuehler writes, "I'm really sorry, John. I honestly did not know. Besides that, what is the best way to be a movie director or be in the movie business at all?" Well, I don't know what it is you're referring to, Justin, in the first part of your question. I'm sure it had something to do with the show earlier that I don't remember. But honestly, I'll give you the answer that nobody wants to hear. The truth is, there is more than one way to become a director and into the movie business. But if you're asking for the best way, it's go to film school. Yeah, but I want a way to get into movies that I don't actually have to do any work, and I don't actually have to pay anything, and I don't have to work to save up money to go, and I want something easy. How can I just get in the film business? Well, sorry, there's no magic button. And again, going to film school is by no means the only way to get into the film business or to become a director. Not at all. But if you're asking me what is the best way is work your ass off, save your money, do whatever it is you have to do to raise money, save money, put money away so you can afford to go to a half-decent film school. You don't have to go to the world's most prestigious one, but to go to a half-decent film school. And I'm not talking about community colleges, 3-month film program. I mean a film school. Save your money, work your ass off, save up, go to film school. Then when you're there, work tirelessly, break your back, do everything you need to do, haul ass, do everything. That's the best way. Not the only way, but that's the best way to do it. And I'm not saying this is what you're suggesting, Justin, but I often find when people say, hey, John, how can I do a YouTube channel? Or how can I get into movies, right? Well, first of all, I'm not in the movie. I've made a couple of movies, but I'm not in the movies, but people want to hear, where's the magic button I press that just do this and I get to be in the movies? Work. And people don't like hearing that. People don't like hearing work, sacrifice, time, and commitment. Work, sacrifice, time, commitment. People don't want to hear that. They want to hear the easy answers. But the best answer is still work, effort, commitment, time. That's still the best way to do it. And hopefully if that's something you're dreaming about and it's something you want to do, hopefully it's something that'll open it up to you. All right, guys, that will do it. We are now all caught up for this installment of the companion videos. Don't forget, guys, the John Campea Show returns again tomorrow. It's going to be me, Chris Carr, and Erin Cummings makes her return since her first appearance since my vacation. It's going to be good to have her back on as well. And we look forward to having you guys here as well. And listen, guys, do me a favor. A few things you guys can do to help the channel out. Number one, subscribe to this channel. If you haven't subscribed to the John Campea YouTube channel, why not click the subscribe button, stay up to date on all the videos that we've got going up here. Give this video a thumbs up if you like these styles of videos. Not just if you agree with me. Don't be one of those people that I'll only give a like if you say things I already agree with. Do you like this sort of discussion? Give the video a thumbs up and make sure you leave a comment in the comments section below and add your voice to the conversation. And when we're doing the shows live, if you want to have your comment or whatever read on air or be a part of the companion videos, use the super chat feature. It's a way to support the channel, and it guarantees that your video gets that your comment actually gets read on the show or one of the videos as we're doing them. So again, guys, thanks a lot for being here. We'll be back again tomorrow for the John Campea Show. And until next time,